Here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you're doing well because I'm doing phenomenally. Thank you very much. This is the 132nd episode of the MFer Podcast, and I thank you for spending your Tuesday evening with me. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I hope you had a very patriotic 4th of July, Independence Day, quite the weekend. Big stuff, lots of big celebrations. I saw some footage, man, from like really cool fireworks displays. I love fireworks. I always have. Ben Franklin said you got to celebrate the 4th with fireworks, and I'm not going to disappoint the man. And my family loves fireworks, and I saw the ones that were going on in New York and DC, and I was like, oh my God, these are the most epic fireworks I've ever seen. And I had a really nice 4th of July in the little town that I live in up here in New York. There was a little parade, which was like cute. You know, parades are gay, but it was fun. You know, all the families are out there, fucking Kiwanis waving flags, and people, you know, the firefighters are marching. And it's like, you know, it's gay, but it's fun. You know, it's like, it's good, like wholesome small town stuff. And then I went over to a family friend's house. They got a pool, so we were, you know, drinking. I played a little pickup basketball. Woo! Haven't played pickup basketball in a while. And I did win. Me and my squad, we cleaned up, we crushed, and just in the nick of time. One of the guys I was playing with was pretty good, and he like sunk a 2-pointer to win it, and I was like, oh, dude, thank God, I had nothing left. I was gassed, dude. You know, we're only playing at like 11, and I was cooked. But then we went to the fireworks in the town that I live in, and man, they sucked. They were like such an underwhelming bummer. We like raced home to like make sure we could catch them, and we didn't really know where they were. And then we went out to go see them, and we're like kind of standing like sort of like in a field like adjacent, and they were just the most lackluster, uninspired fireworks. I was just like, oh, that sucked. Like I was like, damn, that was really a bummer. And then I like go home and I look on Instagram and Twitter, and you just see like the most epic, like incredible fireworks shows with like, you know, parades with like dudes dressed up like Revolutionary War militiamen. You're just like, oh, so sick. Mine was not that sick, but I hope that yours was cool. I hope you guys had a good 4th, a good Independence Day. Thank you, Sentient Dildo, for my Independence Day. Much appreciated. Carrick Von K, what is up? What is up? Had some pretty good fireworks on the lake near my place. Lucky bastard. You lucky son of a gun, you. Smelly Balls. What's up, dog? What is up, Smelly Balls? What do you think we're ever going to get to a place with internet discourse where we all start doing names that are, you know, befitting of us as adult men? I got Sentient Dildo and Smelly Balls in the chat. I don't know. Like, I'm not complaining. I'm happy you guys are here. You guys are great, but it's just hilarious. A rando guy is getting into the topic of the evening. We are going to get into that. We are going to spend a lot of time on this subject this evening, so I hope that you're ready for it. But I do think it warrants a lot of conversation. I do think it's something that really needs to be dug into and kind of understood from a lot of different angles, because it's something that I guess is tempting, is becoming more popular, is becoming something that I am kind of surprised to see. Put this phone on Do Not Disturb. How much impact it's having recently. And so I feel like it needs to be discussed. If it needs to be like thoroughly analyzed. And I did a lot of research today, and I got a lot of stuff to say. So we're definitely gonna break it down. There wasn't like a whole lot of news other than like the war just keeps going on, just keeps continuing to be like every time you look into it, you're like, I thought we were done. Like, you know, it's like, I don't look at it for 2 days and you're like, Iran strikes 3 ships. You're like, we lost. Can we just capitulate already, please? Unreal. What's up, Tix Bomber? How you doing, brother? Papa Cotton. Hola. Pendejos to you as well. I put Sam Tripoli and my favorite online show on pause for this, Matt. Well, let's fucking go, Pop. Let's fucking go. We're going to have a good show. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I do I guess I should just do, little house cleaning and all that type of stuff Follow me on Twitter for a lot of great takes. If you want to see some fantastic tweets, follow me on X. Like the stream, share it with a friend. Does anyone even do that? I mean, it's so funny when people say that. It's like, share it with a friend. It's like, dude, I'm not going to bother my friend. Unless it's something that was like incredible. Like when I first found Joey, like Right Wing Coalition, and I saw his video on Jordan Peterson, like I sent that to my friend. You know what I mean? But like, I don't know. Anyway, but I actually had a question for y'all, and I wonder what you guys think of it. Just out of curiosity. So I've been working on this Iraq war video, right? And it's immense. The script is already like 18 pages. I'm not even done. It's going to be a huge project. I did not think it was going to be this huge. I thought it would, honestly, I thought it'd be done by now. I'm not even close. Haven't even recorded anything. But I've been working really hard on it. So the script is long. I mean, it's becoming like a treatise on the subject. It's very thorough, and it covers all different angles. And I'm really trying to make the case airtight so that you understand, this isn't like a low resolution, low information like take. I'm giving you everything I know about the subject and a lot of stuff I learned along the way. So I feel like I'm going to make the case. The question I have for you guys, and I think I'll make a poll about it, is would you be interested in reading that script? Obviously I'm going to follow through on making the video, but would that be something that you guys would be interested in reading? Like a Substack, like a post of its own self? Because I think like it's actually a pretty decent read. Like just on its own, it's actually a pretty interesting read. But are you guys just here for videos? Like, do you not give a shit? And I honestly don't know. So like, I'm just going to put like a quick poll, and I'll probably leave it up for the whole show. Would you like to read video scripts as articles on Substack? And I'm genuinely very curious. I mean, look, if you're curious, if you would want to read it, because like I said, the video is going to take a while. I'm going to have to like hire an editor. This thing's going to be like over an hour. It's going to have so many different interviews and clips, and there's so much referenced in it. Like, I don't know when this is going to be done. I signed up for a lot of work, but I'm excited to do it. I'm pumped. I'm really enjoying it, and I really want to share it with you guys. And that's why I was like, well, I've been talking about it for a while. Like, maybe if I just put out the script as like a Substack article, you'd find it compelling to read. I mean, I know that's how Joey wrote his book. Was he like someone like asked if he could like publish that video as an article, and then he published the whole thing as a book. So I don't really know if you guys would find that interesting. Let me know. It was a thought that like crossed my mind. So if you have a thought, if you care, let me know. If you also think like, no, I don't care, just make the video, monkey. I mean, that's fine too. Whatever your opinion on the matter is, I just want to know what it is. Jamalama, what is up? What is going on? Carrick Von Case is uploaded to the stack. Sick. The Atlas and Right Wing Coalition collab was awesome, man. That should be a regular show. You guys flow great together. Thank you, dude. That show was sick. I still haven't figured out YouTube after all these years. I thought that show would be massive. It's doing okay in the algorithm. It's got like, I think like 700 or 800 views, which is, look, I'm grateful for everyone hanging out and everything, but I kind of thought that would be a bigger hit. So I don't know if it's the thumbnail or things I need to work on with that, but thanks, man. I thought that was fan-fucking-tastic. I loved that episode. That's probably my favorite episode of this show I've ever done. You know what I mean? It was just such a sick collab, and the homies were like on, and I totally had the right guys for that conversation, dude. Like when Atlas drops, he goes, so, the question is, Atlas, what do you think about women in government? And Joey throws it to Atlas, and Atlas goes, well, to put it in a PG way, it's an affront against God. Let's go. Like, that's how that conversation kicked off. If you haven't seen last week's show, I can't recommend it enough. That is one I would say share with your friends, because that was a great conversation. And I chaptered it out. I always do that on the uploads, by the way. I chapter it out so you don't have to watch the intro again. You could just like slide real easy to the beginning of the show, whatever part of the show you find interesting. I put a lot of effort into this stuff, so I hope that you guys appreciate it. Sentient Dildo, saw you on Jay Bird and Matt. Thanks, dude. Yes, that was another great collab. Those two definitely gave me a nice subscriber boost. So if you're new here, welcome to the MFer Podcast and Foulball Productions. I'm glad to have you. Yeah, that was great, man. That was fantastic. Jay's the man. Tom Foe hooked that up. Absolute legend. He, Jay Burden put it out on Twitter. If you know anybody, and Tom Foe recommended me, and I was just like, fucking king. Thank you, homie. And that was great. Really good conversation. Smart guy, funny, was able to flow with it. Good dude. And we might, there might be another collab in the future with me and him. Not that there's anything on the books. I'm not alluding to anything. We just talked about it afterwards. So, maybe another one with him. Maybe he'll come on the show. But actually, I think that would be kind of cool. Because I watch Jay Burden. I watch like most of his stuff. Well, not most. He does a lot of interviews. He's like Rogan, man. But I do watch him quite a bit. And I don't really know all that much about him. And I kind of want to put him in the hot seat. I kind of want to interview him and see what he's got to say. Hey, what do you got to say for yourself, Mr. Interview Man? No, I'm just like curious. I just would like to know his story and, how he got involved with all this stuff. Because I know he's like friends with like Daryl Cooper and all types of shit. And he seems to get a lot of good guests, too. He works, man. Much respect to Jay Burden. So yeah, that was sick. That was absolutely sick. Boosh, McFadden. What's going on? How you doing, brother? Hey, Fartball. Productions. Very nice, Boosh. Very nice indeed. Might be the thumbnail, but that was an awesome episode. Great talk. Thank you, man. Yeah, no, it's just the clicks. The clicks aren't there. I mean, it's fine. It's not bad in the algorithm, but I was like, it's wild. And I put this on Twitter, and it can't be right, but every time I check it, it stays that way. It says the analytics for the episode are something. It's like, it's 100% men. There's not like according to those analytics, there's not a single girl that clicked on it. 100% men, and all dudes from like 25 to 35. That's the whole demo for that. And it was like 100%. I've never seen that in my life. And I'm like, well, they probably haven't gathered all the data, and it's probably incomplete. And I go to check it, and it's exactly that again. I was like, how is the algorithm getting that good? Is it getting that precise and it's only finding the people who are the audience for that content? I mean, that's crazy. I've never seen that in my life. But anyway, The Lie, where is it? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm missing some of the chat here. Tix Bomber, I have to run, brother. Time to do Atlas mod duties. Wanted to catch a few minutes of your stream prior. We'll watch the rest after. Thank you very much. Have a good stream. Thank you. Yes, thanks, man. Yeah, I know Atlas has got Pine Sap on my time slot. You know what? I have this guy on my show, and then he's like stealing my audience. Whatever, Atlas. No, Atlas is a fucking G. He's a fucking real one. Fucking algo maxing, yeah. Since you two were talking about marketing here, now, if you guys are unfamiliar with Senshin Dildo, his links are always dangerous to click on. Oh, this is like a real link. It's a 3-hour, is this an audiobook? Propaganda, the Public Mind in the Making by Edward L. Bernays. Is this the one? Is this the guy? I watched a video on this years ago. Is this the guy who was Freud's cousin or whatever, who exploited everything that Freud figured out about like human psychology and then applied it to marketing? Which is like so devious, dude. That's so kind of genius, but super devious. I'll have to take a look at that. Nephew. I was confused. It's really the nephew. All right, sick. That's the guy. I remember the evil genius of the weird like subconscious thing that women have with smoking and like penises, like it's like penis envy, and that's how they made all like the feminists like suffragettes smoke, and that like increased smoking for all the women. It's like, oh, monstrous, brilliant, but absolutely monstrous. Okay, I think that's everything. Jay Burden, Right Wing Coalition. We're on Rumble and Kick. If those platforms are more appealing to you, we're there as well. The MFer Podcast is live there too. I don't think it is. Let me know what you think about the. Did that? Okay, yeah. All right, yeah. Let me know what you think about the Substack thing. Like I said, I'll check in with that at the end of the show. All right, so we're gonna get into this. So if you guys are not aware, there was a big Patriot Front demonstration at the Capitol on July 4th over the weekend. And now Patriot Front, oh, what the fuck? Well, I guess it's not going to be a concern anymore because I just earlier in the day I saved the speech, the big speech at the Capitol, and I just clicked on the link from my little prep sheet here, and it went to this post is from a suspended account. So bear with me as I'm sure it's uploaded elsewhere because it was all over the timeline. So let me oh, here we go. I got it. Okay, cool. Let me just give you like my general impressions before I did any research, before I looked into this or listened to anybody talk about it. My impression of Patriot Front was this is suspicious. That was just my impression, right? Like you see all these guys organized, wearing masks, and I remember the first time I remember seeing them was in the lead up to the Trump this most recent Trump election, right? In the 2024 election. And that was the first time I remember seeing them. And I'm thinking, like, as I'm watching these guys, like, you know, when people say, oh, they're feds or whatever, you know, it's like, it's been pointed out that people don't actually know what that means. And I'm sure that I think that I was amongst them in that regard. But I think the reason people thought they were feds, like this was like an insincere operation that was manufactured by like, you know, law enforcement or intelligence agencies or something like that, is because it was just such bad optics. Like it really seemed like the goal of this group was to subvert the Trump administration's election. Now, I've changed my perspective on the Trump administration and their election, and maybe that was their goal, but it's not like it's not the way to accomplish it, right? So I think like when people would see all these dudes marching and organized and looking like, you know, you get the impression of Nazism, right? You get the impression of like brown shirtism, and they kind of resemble like cops. Like it's a very intimidating group, right? So that my first impression of seeing them was just that, yeah, like when people said they're feds, I'm like, yep, like they look like feds to me. I don't know. Why else would you do something with such bad optics unless you want to just like subvert everything we're trying to accomplish here? Unless you just want to like give the left, you remember the left? Remember the left? Remember the left from the past 15 years? Then their censorship regime and their canceling of anyone who was even mildly right-wing and just, you know, rooting out the competition, having the FBI going to Twitter to censor people. Remember all the J6ers in prison for 4 years without trial? Remember all this? Do you remember all this? So the left, they still exist, actually. They still exist. So if you do something like that, to me, what that looks like is you've just given them the gift that they wanted. Because like at least the Trump administration, but I would say that a lot of like kind of well-meaning right-wingers, what we're trying to accomplish is that these ideas actually aren't crazy. We're not hateful. We don't want anyone dead. We just want our country back. And these ideas are actually very reasonable, and many normal, like average Americans have these ideas, right? And so we're not scary. We're probably scary to you, you know, Democratic Socialists of America, Hassan Piker, you know, liberal women who have zero concept of the real world. I'm sure we're scary to you, but we're not scary. And we don't mean any harm other than in the sense we want to depose people who shouldn't be in power, right? But when you create Patriot Front, when these organized, marching Nazis, literally with like fascist symbolism on their flags, it's like, so what the fuck, man? Like, why would you give them that? Why would you give them all the ammunition they need to be like, see, they are all Nazis. We knew it. We knew they hated all these minorities, all this type of shit. And you're just like, so when I first saw all that, I'm like, okay, so this is an op because you're setting everyone back because you've just created like an enemy to the establishment, which I will remind you is still quite powerful, right? It might look and feel good to go out there and throw up your little Roman, but in reality, these people actually are still powerful. And I would also like to remind everyone before we really break into this, because I mean, I'm still really just talking about my impressions early on. The federal government, the United States federal government, they specialize. And I'm not using that as an exaggeration. That's not hyperbole. I'm not using that for dramatic effect. The United States government's law enforcement, the ATF, the FBI, they specialize in taking down right-wing extremist groups. Not extremist groups, right-wing extremist groups. That is their specialty. Have you ever heard about things like the obviously Waco, but like Ruby Ridge, where like that family that like just kind of wanted to live alone off the grid and then got honeypotted into like, committing a felony by, cutting off a shotgun barrel? What did they call them? They called them right-wing extremists. They called them Nazis and neo-Nazis and Aryan Brotherhood because, I mean, they actually did have relations with them, but mostly because they wanted to separate. Because they had like a white identity and they wanted to separate. They didn't want to hurt anybody. They didn't want to be, they didn't want to start a race war or anything like that. They weren't Nazis. They were just God-fearing Christians who were white identitarians who didn't like all the Jews in the government and decided to leave. And what did the government do? Killed them. They shot them, okay? Killed them, okay? So, like, one of the snipers took a shot at a woman holding a baby. These people don't fuck around. So if you think that because, like, you can say the N-word on X and we could talk about Jews on Twitter or on YouTube or whatever, well, then, we can just start organizing like Nazis and there will be no consequences. Like, you're living in a fucking fantasy land. You're living in a fucking fantasy land. And I don't know if you're paying attention, but the Republicans are not very popular right now. Rightfully so. But all the left that are rising, they're not Hillary Clinton. They're not Nancy Pelosi. They're fucking like Ilhan Omar. They're Hassan Piker. They're democratic socialists who don't play these fucking games at all. Okay? They're stupid. They're third worldist. Their ideas are terrible, but they're not good. If they get in power, you think they give a shit about the First Amendment? You think they will care in any way whatsoever if they're controlling the government? No, dude. So when you put your ass out there like that, like I said, not only does it hurt all of us because now we're all associated with you, and like I barely even know what you stand for. Prior to today, I'm saying, but you're basically just taunting them to come and get you. But guess what? They will. They completely will. You think like they're gonna be like, well, wait, like you're gonna call their bluff? They don't fucking bluff with this shit. They put every one of those J6ers in prison without trial, dude. Not everyone, but like lots of people, dude, were in prison without trial. Like, is that who you want to be? Is that where you want to end up? Are you really willing to risk that? Are you going to be Nelson Mandela, rotting away in prison for your political beliefs? Or do you even have to? Is that even the most effective way to accomplish political goals? I would say no. But, Jamalama, I'm sick of the Trump dick riders and all the lefties thinking they were right about everything all along. Well, the Trump dick riders, I mean, whatever, who cares? The lefties, they were kind of right about Trump. I'll give them that. But that's a separate conversation. We're going to get into a little bit about what Patriot Front said. So, the reason I wanted to talk about this today was not because I feel like it's important for me to make it clear how I feel about Patriot Front or to say all the things that I just said, even though I feel like what I just said is valid. The reason I'm saying it is because this time around, when Patriot Front went to the Capitol, I've never seen such positive responses to this group on X. People were saying, oh man, this is great. I got chills listening to this speech. These guys are just hardworking Americans, oh, they're just part of a group. What's wrong with being part of a group? Like they're not violent. They don't want to hurt anybody. Blah, 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 blah. And I kind of avoided it, except that the amount of glazing of this group and the amount of conversation on this group that I was just like, okay, like I'm listening, but I'm like, this group gives me like pause. It always just gave me pause. Like I was like, I just don't know. Like, because you're aligning with like a group like that. And it's not like being a groyper, right? It's like being a groyper is like a loose affiliation. That means like, I'm a fan of Nick Fuentes. It's like your name's not on a list for that, right? You don't have meetings, you don't hold rallies. It's just like a online designation. It doesn't even really mean anything. But this group, Patriot Front, that's not the case at all. This is a group where you have like, there's a register, there's a roster, there's exchange of currency. You have to pay to be a part of this group. It's an organized thing. And these guys have your information. And I'll also say this. So it appears that the likelihood that they are actually like, the whole thing is just a federal op is probably not high. Okay. That's probably not the case. The whole thing gives me the ick, because it's just kind of like, you guys not see the optics of this? Do you not recognize how counterproductive stuff like this is? It just gives the opposition like all the ammunition they'd ever need to just be to now associate anyone right wing with like people who wave fascism symbols at the Capitol. Like, we're not there yet, guys. A lot of people got red pilled recently, myself included, to be completely transparent here. So it's like the idea that, like we're going to make these big swings. It's like, no, dude, no. Like the conversation about talking about Israel so openly is like happened in the past 2 years, So relax with, everyone's on our side. It's like, all the chuds on the internet on X are on your side, but they already were. I'm not saying the influence isn't growing, but don't overplay your hand, okay? However, I lost my train of thought. What was I going to say? Well, right. Okay. Yeah. The likelihood of them actually being an op, right, is low, very low. Probably not. Because like this guy's got a history. He's been around for a while. It's probably a legitimate organization. The thing is, though, the likelihood that it's already infiltrated by law enforcement, I'm going to put it at 100%. I'm going to put it at it's already at 100%. And the reason I say that is not because I have any understanding of how law enforcement infiltration works in these groups. I don't. But Antifa, little fucking twerpy Antifa faggots, have already infiltrated this group several times. Including earlier this month or last month. Antifa infiltrated the group and managed to get their hands on documents and leaked it to the press. And this isn't the first time it happened. It happened a few years ago too. So if the like limp-wristed, Antifa queefs can get into this organization, infiltrate it, and not only do that, take the documents and expose them. What, you think that's in pot? Like the ATF can't do that? You think the FBI can't accomplish that? Like when I will remind you, that is what they specialize in. That is precisely the type of thing that they do all the time. And when it comes to political groups, they specialize in the right-wing group. And by the way, would you know the difference between one of these guys and like a federal agent? It's like they probably look very similar. They probably look like me. You know what I mean? They probably look something like me. Fade, somewhere between 5'8" and 6'2", probably pretty jacked. That's probably what they look like. Would you be able to tell the difference between a groiper, a chud, and a federal agent? I don't know that I would be able to. And these guys, like I said, I've already been infiltrated by Antifa, so they're not exactly airtight. Okay, so, and that's also just like, okay, what do you care for? It's like, well, the thing about it is that people are talking about this group like it's something that, like, maybe you should do. Maybe if you wanted to be part of something political, you should join this group and join political action. And I would say, do not fucking do that. Do not fucking do that. Like, unless you have nothing to lose. And if you have nothing to lose, like, you probably should have other priorities other than like joining a political movement. You know what I mean? And okay, so we're gonna talk about some of this stuff. I'm gonna play a little bit of their speech today, and then we're gonna break down exactly what this group's about, just so we're all completely transparent. And then I'm gonna go over each argument as to why people say this is a positive thing, and we're gonna address each one of those. So let's start off with this speech. It's 6 minutes, man. And when people said that they got chills from watching this, I was like, well, which kind? Because I got douche chills. You know what I mean? I was embarrassed. I was like it's not awful, but it's not like the speech of this century.
We are content to celebrate independence on this day. We know what these vapid displays conceal. Our people are not independent. Our destiny is shackled to 100 competing nations imported to this soil, bringing with them countless incompatible interests. Our homeland has been turned into a squalid arena of profiteers and invaders, overseen by a spineless cast of traitorous politicians.
Okay, so that's only like 30 seconds, but does anyone feel the same way that I do? Okay, like, I know this is going to sound weird coming from me, but I'm getting theater kid vibes off this guy. It feels like a performance. It feels like he likes to be up there saying these things. And the way he writes the script, it feels like this is supposed to be impassioned, and I'm going to use like specific words to really convey what I feel. And I'm going to say it with this big theatrical presentation. And one of the things I think that actually kind of works against them, and this is just my opinion, but their presentation is almost like too good to the point where it's like suspicious. Like, it feels really well produced, which gives me pause. It doesn't feel like it's a guy running around with a camera. Like, they have like music cues and like good cameras and professional editing, which is like, I mean, great. Maybe you should, but I also feel like, to me, that actually, I don't know. It doesn't feel very DEY. DEY. It doesn't feel very DIY. It doesn't feel it feels like, is there a production company help you? Does like the white supremacist production company do your work? Like, I don't know. It takes one to know one. Like, in a little bit, actually, right? It's like I can kind of identify my own. You know, I swam in those waters for a long time, not the white supremacist waters. Those I'm just getting warmed up to. No, the theater waters. So doesn't it feel like acting? I agree. The political dude must perform in front of others. Who would have thunk it? I mean, look, that's fair. That's fine. That's a fine counterpoint. But my counterpoint to that counterpoint is, well, what the fuck is the point of all this then? Because the more I watch of them, the more I experience them, the more I feel like this is the point, is to be seen doing something subversive and making, provocative statements at the Capitol, dressing up in your little costume and having your pageant on the, wherever this is in the Capitol and in the countries. And so, like, that's gay, first of all. That's just kind of gay. And like, whatever, like, I'm sure these guys are well-meaning, the ones who aren't Antifa and feds, but I'm sure the guys mean well, and I'm sure they think that they're doing something. But, what are you doing? I think you're just playing edgy Nazi for the weekend, quite frankly. But it's gonna be a deeper dive than that. It's not just gonna be this surface level analysis. We're gonna break this whole thing down.
We wish for sovereignty and liberty which cannot coexist with the conditions that have been forced upon us. A quarter millennia has now passed since America's violent birth, and nothing I can say will glorify independence more than the blood of our forebears that stains this continent, consecrating it forever with the...
I mean, that stained this continent. It's like, I'd like to thank the Academy,
The immortal legacy of the men who died for so noble an objective as sovereignty. So we stand on the turning of an age and the making or breaking of our nation's destiny, and we must ask ourselves, under the watchful gaze of history, what is to be done? So dire is our circumstance, so extreme.
Come on. It's so melodramatic. It's so melodramatic. Look, I am concerned with these things as well, and I take them very seriously. But what precisely does going to the Capitol and then just spewing right-wing, far right-wing platitudes going to accomplish? You didn't assemble for a specific reason, right? This isn't, hey, we're here to vote down or, to protest a certain bill or a certain piece of legislation that's before the House, and we, think it'll affect our sovereignty. It's just like a broad we don't like everything that's going on here. And it's like, yeah, dude, join the fucking club. Look, quite honestly, as much as I don't like him, that was the whole point of Trump. That's why he was so popular. Look, the entire 21st century's presidents have been that, right? You know, save Bush. Bush was establishment. Obama was a rejection of that establishment by what we were perceived at the time as an outsider. Obviously naive, obviously stupid. But then Trump's a reaction to that. Another perceived outsider. Like, we are all clearly, that is the American people. That's the reason we voted for Trump. So, you know, we know we don't like it either. Like, these melodramatic statements and these theatrical presentations, it's like, what are you going to make the point harder? Oh, well, now I really can't pay my grocery bill. Like, bro, like, I don't know. We'll watch this for a little while longer. I don't know how much of this I can do.
Is our condition of peril. That the only way to secure our existence is to become all that we aspire to be. A defeated people was cast into this pit of a century, yet a nation exalted above all the rest will climb out of it. This is our task. Our national independence was seized by a natural aristocracy of our people, by the best of our Anglo-Saxon blood, waging war against tyranny to restore their ancient rights, not solely for themselves.
You know, like Anglo-Saxon blood. Why don't you know, aim a little lower? Like, what? So this could only be English people now? Like, I understand that was the foundation of this country. I understand that, right? And it's like, I'm pro-white and all that. I'm not Anglo-Saxon. Yeah, I might have like a little in me somewhere. I mean, I'm Irish. I don't think that fucking counts. But I'm like German, Hungarian, Italian. I'm not Anglo-Saxon. Like, am I out? You know what I mean? Like, it's LARP, man. This is LARP. Like, when Patriot Front seizes power, like, precisely what are you going to do? Are you going to kick out everyone who's not white? Like, they'll kill you. Like, they'll kill you before you even get anywhere near accomplishing that goal. Like, I don't even understand like what this stuff accomplishes. I really don't. I feel like this whole, like, it's going, and it's like, it's going around on Twitter by people that like I respect and like. That's also the other thing too. It's not just like wignats and idiots. It's like, no, these are people that like I respect and I like what they have to say about other things. And this one, they're just like, oh yeah, oh, they said it, man. Oh yeah, absolutely. You're just like, dude, shut up. Into the harbor with you, Dago. Founding fathers for dummies. It's also just irrelevant. It's irrelevant. Look, you know, how's Britain doing exactly? Oh, they're an entire raped country. Maybe we shouldn't take all our cues from them, to be completely fair. You know? Senja maybe they still operate under the delusion that normies could be moved by displays like this. I don't know. Well, I mean, that's obviously the case because people were moved by displays like this. But, you know, if you're the type of person who you like needed to see this to like wake up to like the corruption and fraudulent nature of our country, it's like, maybe you should stay out of politics, though. You might not be all that bright or all that informed. You know, if it took Patriot Front going in front of the Capitol and doing their little pageant, I don't know. Maybe it's not the specialty for you, you know, because it's been pretty evident for kind of a while. If it took this, I don't know, you know, maybe get a manual labor job. There's other ways we can use you. Feels like the point is to make themselves known, so that when heat is turned up, they at least appear like a viable alternative to an unresponsive mainstream. Do they, though? Do they really? Because maybe that's what they think is going to happen, but let me tell you what'll really happen. What's really going to happen is what really happened, is that it went into the mainstream press, and they ran with this story. They ran with this image, with the image with the story that you'd think white supremacists march on the Capitol, blah, blah, fucking blah. Ugh. Go away. Why? Oh, God. Why is this so gay? Anyway, look, I was going to pull it up, but I can't find it. I mean, I can find it, but whatever. Looking for New York Times? Yes, I am looking for the New York Times. Thank you. No, so what it effectively did was just give the mainstream left press all the ammunition they wanted, man. The midterms are coming up. This is how they're pumped. That's what this accomplished. It jazzed up the left. It gave them ammunition. It gave them something to point to. Well, you better vote for us, otherwise you're going to get more white supremacists at the Capitol. This wouldn't have happened under us. And by the way, it probably wouldn't have. It probably would not have happened because they probably wouldn't have let it happen. They probably wouldn't have let it go on. So this was the article, or this was the image that was making the rounds on what the fuck? There we go. That was making the rounds all over media was this image. All the Patriot Front guys on the subway with this black lady here, and it looks like civil rights footage. That shot's a great piece of propaganda. It is. That's a great piece of propaganda. Now, if you're on social media like I am, there was a really fantastic piece of propaganda or a piece of journalism that came out. Was this woman here in the green shirt is actually like a total degenerate, got arrested for like indecent exposure. There's like a video of her that I couldn't play online where her like taking her pants down and I don't know, farting or shitting or something like on the subway. But like how good, like from the left's perspective, this is gold for them. Look what this did for them. It gave them like, oh, it's Rosa Parks and oh, the Nazis are back. The Ku Klux Klan is back. Like that's what their big demonstration accomplished, was to give ammunition to their opponent. Look, there's no one in the mainstream right anywhere that's going to get anywhere near this. No one. There's not a single mainstream right. Fishback's not touching this. Nobody's touching this. This is toxic. You do not want to be associated with these guys. These are the worst possible optics. So no one's going to build off of this movement on that side. But you know who will touch it? Everyone on the left and this is one that the left can unite on. DSA and establishment Democrats can unite on this one because it's their sworn enemy, the elusive, the mysterious, horrifying Nazi, the white supremacist. Well, we found him. Look, not all that elusive anymore, is it? No, it wasn't. You know what, guys? It wasn't just edgy jokes on the internet. No, the Hitler edits. Look what they did. Look what happened when we let social media run wild and they were posting the AI translated Hitler speeches. Look what happened when we did that. See, this is why we need Online Safety Act, and this is what'll happen. That's all this was. That's all you accomplished. You got some chuds like me talking on the internet, and you gave the left ammunition for the next 3 years. Cool. Good stuff. Really good stuff. The Rosa Parks analogy kind of works, though, because that was also bullshit. Yeah, but that doesn't matter, right? Me and you know that, and people who are concerned about the truth know that, but most people don't know that. And it wouldn't, it's like what it did was it accomplished. What's up, Shippy? How you doing, brother? What it did is it accomplished its goal, right? It moved the legislation that they wanted. It got the protests going. It did everything that they wanted it to do. That's what this is going to accomplish. Maybe not this one because it turned out that woman was like a crazy homeless chick or whatever. But like people on the left aren't going to see that. All they're going to see is look at this poor, well-behaved black woman and all these horrifying white Nazis. That's going to be the impact of this big speech, of their big moment. All right, so we don't have to watch any more of that speech because honestly, you know exactly where it's going to go. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's just be more of that. It's just be like, in this land and our forefathers and immigrants and the white people and blah, 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 blah. By the way, like, it's nothing that if you're paying attention, you don't already know. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like, there's sometimes like when people like say certain things or there's certain speeches and they like bring it up, you're just like, oh shit, damn, good point. That was not that. That's like, that's just like amplified Trump talking points. That's nothing that like, was just like, wow, that was edgy. He really said something out there. No, that's just, we've all heard all this a million fucking times. Like, but I'm going to do it in front of the Capitol wearing uniforms, like, big Boy Scouts. It's just, maybe they're accelerationists, Matt. If this is like a covert op, all right, more power to them. That's not the impression I'm getting at all. But the thing is, okay, so, all right. So I guess I pulled like why they demonstrate and what their goals are. Like they have all these videos and like what they're looking for and like a Patriot Front member and all this. And, honestly, I'm not going to play them, because like, it doesn't actually add any context, right? Like, so when they say like what their goals are, it's like just platitudes about, the forefathers and the way the government used to be. And actually, this is a uniquely inherited white country. It's just the same slop, right? Same stuff we've all seen a million times. And then, and it's also like they're actually not like very articulate. They're not very good at saying like what exactly like what they want is. They just kind of say like something vaguely associated with what they are. And then they just babble about things you're supposed to agree with. Like it's not even particularly like concise what their goals are. Big Shippy, pretty sure that was a tiny hat plant to try to make the Goyim fight each other. Well, that's what people are saying, right? That's what people are trying to say, is that this is a Fed operation. And then there's people like, no, this guy's legit. And this guy might be legit. So this guy was part of some other organization called like the Vanguard Association or Vanguard of America, some fucking, another LARP thing. And they were involved with Charlottesville. So I guess they were the ones who had the Unite the Right rally at Charlottesville that went all sorts of tits up. And someone even died because someone drove a car into a crowd of protesters or whatever. And then look, what was the effect of that? The effect of that, of the Unite the Right rally, was it was just pure propaganda for the left to use. That's all that became. That's all that did. You didn't get the statues preserved. You didn't get your movement any more positive attention. All you did was just hand the left propaganda for the next 10 years. And they still bring it up. They still use it. The Tiki Torch meme is still a thing. And I think that was getting talked about around with the SPLC reveal, that they were getting all this federal funding. I don't think this guy Rousseau was involved in any of the federal funding. So why I say that is because I think he's authentic. I think he's legitimate. I think he means what he's saying, but I just don't think that still doesn't mean it's a good idea. Right. And I think like in the sphere that I have moved into here on YouTube, like there are a lot of young men who do feel like disaffected and would find something like this appealing. Right. Like, it's something that would be like, oh, well, I'll join like this group. Like I'll do something. I could even identify with that. It's like, it feels like a political movement. It feels like you're actually doing something. But like, what exactly are you doing? Like so I kind of broke down like some of the different arguments, right? So what people have been saying online, because I've been reading a lot of this stuff. I've been reading it all day. I've been reading like the positive comments and negative comments. I've been trying to like figure out like, what's this whole thing? Because this type of thing, like it may seem like I'm spending too much time on this, but I actually think this is really important. I think this is the type of thing that actually needs to be kind of understood thoroughly instead of just sort of either hand waved or this is great. Like you need to have like a 360 degree, like bird's eye view of this whole thing so that you understand like what we're dealing with here. Right. So maybe you're someone who's like more sympathetic, but people were like, oh, well, why do these speeches? It's like, well, to get the word out. Right. And I was saying, like, if you are the type of person who needs this group to like, let you know that something else is going on here, like that, oh, maybe, hey, maybe this democracy isn't on the up and up. Hey, maybe these politicians don't have our best interests at heart. Hey, is this system corrupt? if it took you up until that demonstration to come to that conclusion, look, man, play video games, bro. Video games are sick. They're super fun. You know what I mean? Or join like an MMA gym, but I don't think politics. I just don't think. Look, and maybe it's like, maybe it's like, okay, well, then this group is doing something. It's like, yes, but what exactly, right? We're getting the word out. What word? That this country is being overrun by illegal immigrants and it used to be a white country. It's like, yeah, we know, man. We know. Like they say, oh, well, this is being done in person. This is real activism. This is really doing something. It's like, oh, is it really? When you go to your speech and you 100 people are there to hear you, or 500, 1,000, are there to hear you, or you have a fucking internet, like a TikTok or a reel or a meme, and that's millions see that. Which do you think is going to have a bigger impact? Which do you think is going to have a bigger impact on the political conversation? Your little rally that the left-wing press is going to use to demagogue the entire right wing, or like an actually like concise, well-articulated argument, like a good foundation, good video presentation, that can go viral. Which do you think is going to have a bigger impact? And do you think did like the establishment, like, did they need to, it's like, if you control the media environment, that's how we ended up here. That's how we ended up in this situation, was because the media environment was controlled and our access to information was limited. And the people who were talking about it were controlled as well. So maybe media matters. Maybe your media impact actually may have like a higher threshold of impact than a handful of speeches. That's all I'm saying. And the one thing I did hear that I thought, excuse me, the one thing I did hear that I thought was actually like a pretty good point is that this group doesn't just do like these rallies, right? And they this seems to be proven true, is that they do organization, like they do like hiking, combat training, like, hand to hand. And they even like have a network of people, right? Where they do like job placement, blue collar jobs, or people who maybe have been canceled for saying something too spicy or being associated with other groups like this in the past. And they will hook you up with a job or whatever. And that is fucking great. That I think is fantastic. I would join something like that. I think that's actually a really strong type of organization that I would love to see more of. And apparently there's these things called active clubs that, the ADL calls like white supremacist. I don't know how, I haven't looked into too many of them except for this one. But those are good things. I would say just do that without the Nazi costumes and the marching. Just do the group. And then look, have conversations, right? Have book clubs, have tough conversations, share, good podcasts, share the MFer podcast with all your white supremacist friends, please. No, but whatever, I think that's awesome. Community organizing like that around similar principles and similar, that is something that you should do. In history, that's actually proven to win a lot of hearts and minds too, right? If you look at like Pablo Escobar, obviously a horrific, drug dealer, murdered people constantly all the time, but would do so much community outreach and give so much money to like the poor Colombians in the area that they loved him. They would run cover for him. They would lie to, federal officers and stuff like that, trying to capture him. It's like, yeah, because that's the type of impact that like being like a positive community, organization can have. Just don't do the Nazi rallies. That's great. The other thing is it's doing something, right? It's not just on the internet. We're actually out there doing something. Okay, first of all, fucking no, you're not. You're absolutely not. If you were there for a specific goal, trying to stop a particular legislation, or to get a particular member of government thrown out, or have a spotlight thrown on them, or if you had any political wins whatsoever, that would be all different story. But the fact of the matter is, you actually don't. And you're not accomplishing anything other than just stirring up controversy. So you're not actually doing much, right? And I don't think, like I said, I don't think there's going to be many people who are intelligent enough and politically like curious enough who are going to be inspired by this group to get involved and start smartening up about what's going on around them. I don't think that that's going to be the case. I just don't. And this organization, like, it's been accused of being a Ponzi scheme, and those accusations are not completely baseless. So if you're part of this group, according to like leaked documents that like those Antifa twerps found, if you're a part of Patriot Front, like you have to buy all that fun Nazi merch from them, and it has like a markup. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to be like unnecessarily disparaging. They're not Nazis. I'm just saying it to be fucking cute and funny. But like you have to buy all that merch and stuff from them at a significant markup. And that money, you know, helps like the organization, but it also is like how Rousseau lives. So cult-like a little bit. And also you have to buy all these stickers, these like Patriot Front stickers, and you have to post them, and you have to show proof of your like posting activity, which is like, I don't think it's a big deal, but I think it's technically vandalism. So it's just like you're encouraging them to vandalize public property and to be a part of the, like a member. And if you don't do this stuff, like you can get kicked out of the group. Like that's like part of your membership is like, you know, it's like, it smacks to me of like Hustle University, like the Andrew Tate thing where you had to like, you know, cut up his clips and post them for him. You had to do like his legwork to get like his marketing, his like viral marketing. It's like, fuck that. Like, I don't know. Like that's something that I just feel like it's a little bit off. I think like another thing that they say about this type of group, right, it's like, the thing that I will say about it is I imagine there is like a catharsis to it, right? I imagine that if you were to join a group like Patriot Front, like it probably would feel like pretty cool. You know, it probably feel like you're part of something, you're part of a group, like I'm actually doing something, you know, I'm a part of something. We're going to make something happen. And then when you show up in your organized little platoons, and you stand there with your flag and you look all cool and people get upset, you're like, yeah, that's right. You get upset. I've been upset for years and now I'm going to be the one making you upset. Yeah, man, but that ain't shit. Like what if like your name gets leaked, which is totally a possibility, and then every time a future employer Googles you, it's going to come up Patriot Front, you know, think neo-Nazi, and now your life's ruined. For like a LARP, for like an organization that, like I said, is ineffective at really accomplishing anything other than creating propaganda for the left. Like I said, I actually think these guys are sincere. I don't think that they're like a federal op. I don't feel like they're just like SPLC funded, but I don't think this is like a good way. If you're on the far right, if you're on the dissident right, like I don't think this is a good way to accomplish any goals. I think like this is just like, you know, you're just being an edgelord, really. Yeah, and that's not to take away the good things that the organization does. Like I said, there are some good things. Like I like the you know, organizing, the activities, that type of shit's sick. Book clubs do it, you know? I think that's great. I just read Death of the West. I would love to have like a book club, you know, like talking about that. That would be cool. I think that there's actually some strength in that. But don't do the Nazi marching too. Don't show up in the Capitol with, you know, the fasci like axe on your flag. Don't do any of that because you're just incensing your enemy. And like I said, it's an enemy that is known to attack. It's an enemy that's known to play dirty, be ruthless, and crush its opposition. And you're so easy because you can just be served up. You're the far, far right, and you're making like, you know, defiant demonstrations at the Capitol. The right wing doesn't want to be associated with you either, like the establishment right wing. They're not going to fall on the sword for you. So that's just my perspective on the Patriot Front. And I thought it was something because it's like of the spheres that I have kind of been existing in and the amount of conversation I've seen online about it. I had to kind of like dig into this myself and get like some kind of understanding. Cause like I said, like when I first saw this group, I was like, I don't know about that, man. That seems like a honeypot. That just seems like that's no good. That's completely counterproductive. All that's going to do is enrage our ops and you know, not help at all. And just actually bring down any kind of positivity we had going. All right, what did you guys say? You guys are just talking bullshit. And now they're leaning on YouTube to use algo to push BBC. Not big black cocks on my algo. I don't want that. Oh, the British Broadcasting Company. Sorry. And left-wing media strongholds to only recommend UK legacy media stuff to people in the UK. They're not even trying to be sneaky anymore. I saw that. I saw that. Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? It's like, who's that guy in Australia? Thomas Sewell? Didn't he was like an outward, like white supremacist, you know, dressing up in a costume, got arrested. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, cause that's, especially like in the UK, in the Commonwealth or whatever, it's like, yeah, there's no freedom of speech. If they look at you as a right-wing activist, you're a right-wing activist and you're going to jail. You're getting arrested. They arrest people for tweets. You think that can't happen here? You think that there's no way the First Amendment's so sacred? Since fucking when? I hold it sacred, as do many others. But what you're saying that at no way in this like a media environment, this government environment, political environment, they would ever manage to seize power or supersede the First Amendment? They've already done it, and they'll do it again. But yeah, Shippy, yeah, you guys have it rough, man. I'd be using VPNs all day if I were you. You know, yeah. As far as the government would know, I'd just be like a little old lady, you know, just looking at fucking videos of knitting and cats. I wouldn't even be on YouTube posting anything. You smell fat from start to finish. Look, you know, it's either fed or completely misguided. I honestly don't think it's fed, but I'm pretty sure I'm sure that there are feds part of that group. Because if Antifa got in, the feds got in. So you really want to risk that? You want to risk being doxxed? You want to risk, you know, having your life ruined for this group, for this active club? You know, you can join boxing clubs and do community outreach without being part of what they were going to designate as a terrorist group. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, I saw that, Shippy. They banned all social media for like kids under 16 except for Blue Sky. It's like, yeah, you know, can you be a little bit better, be a better tyrant? You know, we deserve a better brand of tyrants. Your VPN'd up? Let's fucking go. Let's go fucking go, Shippy. All right, I'll never rat you out. I'll never rat you out to the Australian government. All right, so I did want to play a little bit of what Nick Fuentes had to say about it, because I thought he summed it up really well. And look, he's been a part of these types of spheres for a long time. You know, this is his specialty. He was at Charlotte. He was at Unite the Right. And this is like something that I feel like he has a lot of insight in, and I really liked what he had to say about it last night. So we gonna play some of him. Is this the right one? Yeah.
Now, some people say that Patriot Front does charity work. Great. They say Patriot Front does fraternal activities, like they do boxing matches and they do hiking and they do book clubs. Great. And I hear they even do electioneering. They do door knocking. They do phone banking. I hear they've organized some parallel structure where they can arrange for their members to get jobs, blue-collar jobs, if they're doxxed. I think that's great, too. This is all great. Just do that. Just do that, then. People say, wait, but they're great. They do charity, and they have this network of businesses that hires our guys, and they do door knocking and phone banking, and they do these fight clubs, and they do this and that. Okay, great. That's all great. Just do that. No one.
But like, even like the political activist part of it, like the door knocking and stuff like that, like that's fantastic. Like, do that. You know what I mean? Like, organize around that. You know, organize around a candidate or something. You know, like. It's hard. It was hard enough, right? The only thing that was able to push the Overton window so far as to be able to get, you know, people to be this Israel critical was because of October 7th, Right? That's the whole reason I even fucking opened the door to it, because it was like, you know, something in the back of my head I probably had suspicions about, but I don't think I definitely didn't know what I know now. And you know, it was like the that like people seeing that on their phone for years. Like that was the difference. It was that people like the Overton window got kicked to the other side. But you think that like the American public, or even like a large contingent of the American public, is ready for that? They're ready to go that far and say this is a white country, and you know and not only that, it's Anglo-Saxon. You're gonna go even more narrow and go there, and you're gonna organize and be intimidating. You think like that's gonna attract a lot of people? You think people are gonna come to your side on the thing? It's like, look. You know, can't we be subversive too? You know what I mean? Like, do we have to wear everything on our fucking sleeves? Right? Like, if you're going to be like me or someone on the internet, that's kind of your job. That's sort of what you have to do, right? You have to be honest and, you know, kind of edgy and pushing the line. And that's your gig if you're going to talk about this stuff. But like, you know, in public... You know what I mean? Like, can't we be subversive too? Like, you think like the old WASPs with like their Skull and Bones, you know, organizations, right? Like, you think that was just an accident? That they just also liked being creepy and weird behind closed doors? It's like, maybe they did, but it was also served a function. It was to obscure the hands of power so they could operate with impunity, right? So they have like connections. You know, they're like steeped in mysticism and Satanism and all this other shit. Fine. I'm not for that. But the mechanism is why it existed for a reason. Because if it's out in the open, then it's easy to expose and it's easy to kill. You know, like the Zionists. That whole network of people working together on the left and the right in different capacities to run the government of the United States of America, to take our sovereignty out from underneath us. They didn't tell us they were doing it. They didn't, you know, like Schumer doesn't wear a payas and the little curly cues in the fucking, you know, in Congress. You know, like, can't we also be a little slick about it? Can't we be a little like read the room and understand that this isn't going to fucking play? But it can play on the internet. It can play if you're Fuentes. It can play, you know, if you're Joel Webbin or any of these guys who are being like, you know, pushing the line. It can play there. In public? In actual government? No, dude. Crazy.
Would have a problem if you just did that. Nobody would have a problem. Fox News wouldn't have a problem, couldn't have a problem. Laura Ingraham wouldn't have a problem, couldn't have a problem. Who could have a problem with that? Hi, we're the Patriot Front. We're an organization of common sense, patriotic Americans. We're against immigration. We love our heritage. We're nationalist. We help our community with charity. We study our American history. We like to look at our beautiful American country. We look at the environment, and we try to get like-minded people elected. Literally, who would have a problem with that?
Honest to God. Like, if that group existed, I would probably join that group. That sounds like a sick group. And I'm not just saying that. I mean that. Like, that would be a cool collection of people to, like, hang around with, and you could actually accomplish something. But these guys, like, the whole sticker thing, you have to post the stickers all around, and you gotta march with the masks, and, you know, we're not. It's like, well, don't be a part of something you have to be anonymous for. And I'm for anonymity. I think anonymity is powerful, especially on the internet. I think it's actually something that people should and could and should embrace. I'm actually fine with that. I'm not against like anonymity on the internet. I think that that's actually like a good tool. That's a way to move things without getting fired. You know, because you get associated with some of this stuff. It's just like, that's it for you, man. You know, good luck working in an environment where, you know, they want to Google you. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be tough. So, I just don't know why it has to go so far. It's like, look, you can accomplish a lot without the LARP, you know, without the kind of like the intimidation and the revolutionary spirit. Like, you actually, if you can organize all that, like if you have those skills, you know, and you can, you know, make videos and stuff like that. I don't even I don't even really think it's that. It's like, and it's the type of thing where, like, they could accuse you of being hateful and negative, and you can just weather those storms. Be like, no. We're actually just good community outreach people. We have our principles, is what we believe, but we're here for, like, it's all the other shit that I think that just absolutely, yes. Like, yes, Sentient Dodo. The long march through the institutions is greater than the short goose step in front of the institutions. It's 100. Yes, dude. And it will be short because that's all it's going to be. It's like you just put a big ass target on your back. That's all you did. You just accomplished being a target of the state, of your enemy. Now they know who you are. They know what you're going to say. It's just, that's why it's like people think it's like it's a federal operation because it seems so misguided. This has to be Fed coded. It has to be an operation from, some law enforcement agency because this is just, the optics are insane. Like, what exactly are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to just make sure no right-wing person ever ascends ever again? Is that your goal? Because it wouldn't shock me if it was with the way you're executing.
But that's not the issue. The issue is let's dress up in costumes, LARPing like the brown shirts. Let's wave a flag with the fascies on it. Let's wave an American flag with the fascies on it. Gee, I wonder what that is. You're literally marching around saying those Jews and Africans and Mexicans, and we're raising up a banner of fascism to reclaim America for whites only. And you're doing it in costumes. You're doing it in a working class role play costume, like the brown shirts, like some kind of fascist militia from the 30s.
Sentient Dildo says, is this whole Matt's rant really about his inner theater kid being jealous of their production value? That's hilarious. Look, I will say their production value is slick. It's good. If you watch any of their videos, like, they're well produced. Like, it's cornball. Like, I don't really like Thomas Rousseau. Like, I don't respond to him. Like, when he speaks, I just, like, I don't like this guy. He just kind of looks like rodent-y to me. He just got a little snishy face, and he's just kind of like, the beard doesn't make him look tough at all. And he kind of hangs out with a lot of dudes who are, like, jacked, and he, rolls his sleeves up so he looks jacked. But I think he's kind of like a little guy, which is like, whatever. I'm not, ball out, short king. But I just, like, the whole thing just feels like a theater production. It just feels like I want to be a big bad white supremacist on the internet. That's what it feels like. And you're like, okay, guys, I don't know. Look, and I would not have dedicated an entire show to this if I didn't think it was important because of how much profile they're getting. How many people on the right are I saw Zeb Boykin retweeted something about this, and I was just like, dude, no. Like, this is no. So it's like I felt like I had to talk about it because this is like, I didn't talk about this when it happened during the election with Trump, when they make the other demonstrations. I didn't feel the need to weigh in on it or even do any real research on it. I was just like, I don't know what that is, but I'm not interested. But it has my timeline now, because I clicked on a few of these things. Now it's all Rousseau and Patriot Front, and like all the comments are being positive. And, Fuentes is just on the internet. He's just talking. Oh, he's just what? Reaching millions of people every night. He's just like going on like huge podcasts, being some of the biggest platforms on YouTube, despite being banned from the platform. Oh, he's just doing that. He's just changing the nature of the conversation, and like not just Fuentes either, right? Like Tucker, like Candace, fucking Dave Smith, like all these people. They're doing is they're just talking. Oh, they're just changing the dynamics of politics by talking about it. Yeah, that's all they're doing. That's all they're accomplishing. What exactly did you accomplish with your little march there? What precisely? If there weren't any law enforcement, you guarantee there's going to be some now. So that's what you accomplished. Good work. Rousseau is a hilarious name to have as a far right organization leader. I think that's his name. I think it's Thomas Rousseau. Why? Is that like a famous commie or something? Yeah, that's him. Dude, see, look, and when you Google his name, you know what comes up? A mugshot. A mugshot comes up. You think that they're really curious? They're going to open the door for you? They're going to let in the outwardly white supremacist group, not the Israel critical group, right? Not the economic immigration opposition, not even the cultural economic opposition. No, the outwardly Anglo-Saxon focused, call it whatever you want. They're all going to read that as white supremacy. Oh, and so when you do your little show and then you get Googled, oh, what's going to come up? A mean-looking mugshot. Yeah, no, I'm sure that's going to open the door. I'm sure all the former MAGA people are just going to flock to the Patriot Front side. I mean, OG French liberal philosopher. Oh, yeah. That is funny. Yeah. Well, he's Anglo, he's part of that sphere. And look, we contributed a lot to the world. All right. I mean, look, I know, guys. I know. I get it. You know what I mean? It's just, you got to be able to deliver that message better. You got to.
Everybody knows what you're getting at there. It's not subtle. It's not discreet. Everybody knows what that's gesturing towards. They're gesturing towards, we're the brown shirt militia of America. We're the working class brown shirt militia of America. We're fascists. And I just don't think that's a good idea. I think that's asking for trouble. And I think that's just not how the war is fought in the 21st.
Candace is insane, though. Look, Candace is nuts. She, a broken clock. She gets some stuff right sometimes. Look, I mean, she had a win recently. What was that thing she posted recently? Oh, yeah, she posted the Charlie Kirk sharing a Nick Fuentes meme. That's huge. I mean, the victim, the Japan of the Groyper Wars was Charlie Kirk. Rest in peace. But, I mean, he got murked in that exchange. Have you ever seen any of those clips? I watched a whole documentary about it on YouTube by this guy, Milton Groyper, and it was all about the Groyper War, which I was completely oblivious to that when that was going on. But I watched it, and it's like, they're brutal, dude. They're crushing him on these issues at his own events. And he keeps trying to duck it, and then he has to try to face it, and then he tries to puts plants. The whole thing is so bad. It looks so bad for him. But even after that, one of the guys, I guess Fuentes said, like, this dude Emerson or something. I don't know who he was talking about, but the guy, like, he shared a meme, and it's a pretty funny meme. It's with, like, Jordan Peterson in the top frame is saying, in order to, think, you have to say provocative things or something to that effect. And then the next thing is just Fuentes saying Jews. And then the bottom thing is Peterson being like, Nick Fuentes, you're a deplorable, monstrous demon troll. And Kirk shared that with Candace Owens. And, so I don't know. And she's the one who exposed that fucking, what's his name? Who's that little rat fuck? Josh Hammer, like, pretended like he didn't know that Charlie Kirk had said those things about the Israel lobby and the Israel donors to his campaign. At the end there, when Charlie Kirk said, "Oh, I can't do it with the Israel lobby anymore. They fit all the stereotypes. I'm just done supporting Israel." Josh Hammer's in that group chat, and then Candace Owens leaks the screenshot. Josh Hammer denies it, yet he knew firsthand because he was in it. So, she does some good stuff. Big Bundus for big government. That was one of my more successful reels, was me and Vigilante Williamson talking about Candace's fat ass. And she does got some cheeks. I gotta be honest. I saw her in that documentary. I was like, whoa, what was that? What was that, Candy? Hey, now.
Century. I think that we're just not at that point yet. We're not at a critical mass yet where that does anything other than invite unnecessary scrutiny and problems and vilifies people unnecessarily. So
that's 100% right, by the way. That's 100% right. Like I said, this is a thing too. I talked to like a lot of people, over on like the New American Vision channel where I do my Sunday show, where I will be doing one this week. And you get a lot of these people who like don't like Fuentes' plan to like the long march to the institutions and infiltrate, and take and do the tough long work of actually gaining influence and positions of power. They want now, like they're basically saying like violent revolution. And I'm like, Okay, look, maybe I'm new to the party here, but I'm pretty sure a lot of you just got here too. And look, the situation's dramatic. It's bad. I get it. But let's fucking calm down with whatever the hell it is you're talking about, with this any kind of violence at all. And even if we were thinking about it, which we are definitely not, we're not talking about that on the internet, you fucking retard. But I'm not, because I don't even think that's I think that's just incredibly counterproductive. But regardless, it's like guys, like let's all fucking relax. We're making a lot of headway. The far right, dissident right's making a lot of headway in the conversation and sort of public perception. Let's not fuck it all up. Let's not fuck it all up with some rash action because we're frustrated. Let's not ruin all that by doing Nazi marches at the Capitol with little fascist symbols. Yes, I know it's an old symbol from Rome. We got it, but it became a fascist symbol, okay? It's short-sighted. It's short-sighted, it's aggressive, it's the exact type of thing that'll just get the entire movement just, killed in its crib. So why don't you calm down? Relax a little.
Like I said, it's no shade. I mean, I'm sure the guys in there are well-meaning. Like I said, I probably agree with them on 90% of things. Is it better to see that than BLM? Absolutely. But I also don't think that's really the best way to organize. I think if people really want to do something, then the first thing you could do is stop being self-indulgent. Dressing up in a costume so you could feel like you're part of something bigger than yourself is self-indulgent. It's vanity.
Send your dildo. We will have none of this revolution talk on the 4th of July, for fuck's sake. Listen, I'd like to remind you, okay, during the revolution, which I'm very proud that my country accomplished, the enemy was an ocean away. Okay, when that meant something. All right. Yes, there were garrisons here. Yes, there were bases here. Yes, but the bulk of the British force was across a fucking ocean, and they had their hands full at the time anyway. And we had an ally of another nation's navy. Okay. We're not going to have that with whatever the hell these Wignats are planning. That ain't happening. All right. We're not going to get France to send a fucking aircraft carrier to assist in our war against the United States government, all right? So just stop. Just stop. The LARP is off the charts with these people. I'm just like, shut up. I don't even want to be around you.
Sure, and I'm not trying to be nasty when I say this, but I'm sure a lot of the people in Patriot Front, I'm sure they get a real big kick out of putting on their whole uniform, assembling their whole uniform and looking in the mirror and saying, I look like an army man. And I'm sure they get a real big kick out of singing their songs all the way in the U-Haul van to the DC rally.
You know what's funny, Sentient Dildo? I actually I gave them their props because they won their soccer game at the World Cup or whatever. Not that I know or give any kind of a shit about it. But I was at someone's house and they had the game on. And I was like, it was like a 1-up to, I don't know who the fuck they beat. Colombia, maybe? And I was just like, you know what? On the 4th of July, let's fucking go. Good for that. You know what I mean? Like, we owe them a lot. The French get dragged in this country, especially under the Bush administration when they wouldn't go to war with us with Iraq, which, by the way, they were 100% right to not do. But they it was like, oh, you surrendered, you lost 2 world wars, dibba, dibba, dibba. But no, we owe them. There's no America without France. That shit doesn't happen. Aircraft carriers against hypersonic missiles. Right, exactly. I gave them their respect. I did. Fuck it. And may I say, we'll just stop here. We'll wrap up for the show. I want to say this, right? I have been really enthused by all of the pro-America Europeans that have come over here. That has been some of my favorite content to watch. Is like when the dudes who are in Boston, like all the Scots, singing their songs, and they're drinking the whole city out of beer. You're like, this is sick, and they're embracing it and they're loving it. You got like Count Dankula is in Texas with Rupert Lowe, and they're shooting guns. Let's go. You know what I mean? Like, and they're pumped about it. They're like, Texas, that's how you run a state. Rupert doesn't really know, but hey, whatever. It's the positivity that like I like, and it's these massive groups like the Norwegians. You know, who's that like goofy looking Norwegian guy who everyone's like, you know, in love with now? He's in Texas wearing a cowboy hat. Like, yeah, baby, I love all this. Then I go online, and I don't know why I do this to myself. I go on this website 9gag. It's a meme site. I don't really spend as much time there anymore. You know, now that X is free speech, I don't really need it. But there's a lot of Europeans on there. And boy, oh boy, did they just ruin all the positive energy I had with all these European and America bonding. I thought we were really building something here. I thought we were building a connection. I thought we were like, you know, reminding ourselves and each other about like, you know, this sort of bond, you know what I mean? Like low-key because we're white, you know, on the hush-hush, but like just, you know what I mean? Like a little bit of that. And then these guys got to go ruin it. They all go, Trump and the red card. And you're like, we don't give a fuck about soccer. Soccer sucks. We were just playing along because it was like you guys were being positive. We don't care who wins soccer. If our best athletes played soccer, none of you would ever win a fucking another game again. We have black people, okay? And they're the best in the world. All right? You get, you know? But our athletes don't play soccer. Who cares? I know. What did I expect? I just thought we had made some headway. I thought we got somewhere, Sunshine Dildo. You know, I just thought there was a nice cross-Atlantic bonding of Americans and Europeans. They were coming, you know, it's all these people coming and just being shocked and positive about our country. And I'm like, this is great. Like I saw this French guy and I feel like there's no way for me to know if he's being sincere. It could just be engagement bait. He could just be like, oh, this will get 1 million views on TikTok. But it was this French guy who tried Texas barbecue for the first time. And he was just like, oh, they talk about American food in France. They poo-poo. And the guy's just like blown away. He's just absolutely floored by Texas barbecue. And I was like, let's fucking go. I don't even like Texas barbecue. And I think France has way better food than the United States of America. But still, I was like, fuck yeah, dude. That's awesome. I love when people come here and they feel like they had the totally wrong impression. And I'm like, see, we're fucking cool. This is a cool place. We're nice. It's a good country. I like it here. God damn it. And I'm sick of it being disparaged by my own people, by foreigners. Fuck off. You know, I like the United States of America. Anyway. Matt, you don't know soccer. Shut the fuck up. I just said I don't know soccer. Who cares about soccer? Soccer's gay. I said I like the diplomatic accomplishments of it. Soccer's the most boring game on the fucking earth, and I play golf, okay? Soccer sucks. Oh, it's 0-0. I guess that's that. What the fuck you mean that's that? It's over at 0-0? You guys call this a sport? That's jogging. They jogged for 2 hours. You find that entertaining? You watching a bunch of dudes jog? Gay. I know, it's so funny, such a dodo. I know. It really is like our Africans are beating your Africans. It really is like that. It's different with the States, though. You know what I mean? Like, the blacks that have been here for like generations, longer than my family, many of them. So it's different. Like, they're Americans. With those dudes, it's like that guy was in Algeria like 6 months ago. You know what I mean? Like, that guy's not French. Yeah, I know everyone jumped on the Norway train, which is like cool. That guy seems fun. He's like, you know, what's his name? Holland, what I don't know. But he seems like he's having a great time out there. He's a very silly looking man. And he just, you know, he's got good vibes. People like him. He's this big Nordic Viking looking motherfucker. It's like, cool. Yeah, go get him. I don't care if we win or lose or whatever. I like gay rugby. Look, I try to not like goy sports ball, but I can't help it. I like football. I do. I know it's annoying, especially, you know, you got like end racism in the end zone. I understand, but I like football. I like football. Jamalama, I hated soccer until I got stuck in the hospital on Kauai for 3 days, and the only thing was the World Cup. Then I got it. You know, I was, years ago, I was in New York, and the World Cup was in like South Africa that summer. But they had this event in New York, and it was like these, I forgot how it was organized, but it was like a soccer tournament. and the winner would get tickets to the World Cup in South Africa, right? It was like this cool event, you know. It was in like, I don't know, somewhere in Brooklyn or Queens. And we go there, we're drinking, having fun, and we're watching the soccer, right? And it's just, at first, it's just these amateurs. And then there's like these kind of semi-pro clubs. And then I saw how physical the game was. Like, because I haven't played soccer since I was a kid. And I was like, damn, this is like a really physical game. Like, it's like the getting to the ball and using your body to like, you know, like, I don't know, guard, whatever the fuck they're doing. I was like, wow, this is a lot more physical than I realized. You know, you see it on TV and it's just like, I don't know, they kicked it across. They kicked it back to midfield. He took a shot on goal. It was way wide. 45 minutes, huh? All right. You know, I mean, I think that summer I tried to get into soccer. I'm like, look, this is boring. And I'm calling it soccer. I'm never going to call it football. And I don't care. And most of you, I'll say this too for the Europeans, the one watching, Sencha Dildo, and Sencha Dildo's he's not even a gay Euro. But they all love to, they're so smug. They're so smug. They love to talk shit. They say, you know, oh, America, you guys call football. You don't even play with your foot. You don't even play it with your foot. Okay, first of all, idiot, in America, we call it football because it's a foot long, all right? Let's call it for number one. Number two, you don't call it football because you play it with your feet, idiot. You call it football because it's played on feet, as in running around, and not on horseback, as in to distinguish between polo and games played on foot for the peasants. All right? So why don't you just take your little smug, gay little game, shove it up your ass, just like you like. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of the MFer Podcast. Thank you very much for watching, you brave few who hung out with me all the way through. I hope you liked it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Oh, let me check out the poll. Let me check the poll. It's exactly 50-50 with 8 votes. Well, that is worthless information, guys. I might as well have not even done it. If you didn't vote, vote. That's like, what am I do with that information? I might as well have not done it. That poll is useless. Doesn't help at all. It's the same. So I should have just flipped a coin? Thanks for your help, everybody. I appreciate you guys. Fucking jerks. It does. Absolutely. This is a dictatorship here. I will make my own decision. I thought I'd be magnanimous, and I would ask my subjects. I would poll my subjects. Subjects, what do you think about said subject? And they fucked me. That's why you don't have democracy. It's fake and gay. Love you too, Jamma Wamma. All right, you guys. Next time, I don't think I'm going to do another episode of the MFer Podcast this week. Maybe, probably not. But I will definitely be doing the Right Wing Pulse over on New American Vision. I think it's a great show. Sunday nights. If you don't have anything to do, come hang out with me. And I'll see you guys soon. You have a great night, all right? Peace.